In this video, we're going to take a look at integrating with Trello. And we're going to look at the options for automating a number of the actions available in Trello to orchestrate the creation of a new Trello board, the creation of a new list on that board, and the population of a new card, all automated through the business process tool. So to get started, we're going to go into System and Security in order to define the account that we want, the Trello account that we want to use, and to securely store the authentication details for that Trello account. So under Key Safe, we're going to go ahead and select Trello. We're then going to give that account a name that we want to work with, and we're going to create a key. Once we've done that, we need to connect to Trello and to the account we want, and to specify the account details to authenticate. So here we're just going to go and enter the details for our Trello account. And then we're going to authorize the Hornbill app to interact with Trello. So with that in place, we can now come to our business process and look at the actions that we need to perform. So we're going to use this under a project business process, and we're going to go to our approval and assignment stage. So in here we're going to break an existing line, and we're going to put our first integration call in place. So in this example here, we're going to want to automate the creation of a new board. So we're going to use our Hornbill integration bridge, and we're going to specify the method we want. In this case, again, it's going to be Trello, and under our boards option, we're going to use the board create operation. We may choose to give our node a particular name, which will make it easier if we're adding a number of integrations onto the same business process. Here then we want to specify just some details for that particular board, so give that a description, and we'll call that new project. And then we're going to specify the board name. So this could be a project, and then we might want to pass in some variables. So again, I might want that board to include the request ID from which the board was created in Service Manager, so we'll inject that. And we might want to also include some other variables, like, for example, maybe a deadline for that project that might have been specified as a progressive capture question when that project request was raised in the first instance. So again, we can use our variable picker, and we might then choose one of the relevant questions or answers to inject in there as well. With that information in mind, then we might, within our business process, we might have some checkpoints that we also need to set here. So I might want to visualize the fact that we have created that board. So I might have an optional one saying board created in Trello. And then we might come on and add another integration call here. So in this integration call, we again are going to use the Hornbill integration bridge. We're going to look for Trello and one of the other options that we might want to specify. So in this example here, I might want to create a new list on that board that we've just created. So I'm going to use the list create option. Again, it's going to specify the account and credentials we're going to use that we've defined in our key safe, and then it's going to ask me for some information. First of all, it needs to know which board to create this list on, and obviously at this stage we don't know that. That's going to be a variable. So what we can do is look at the integrations that we've previously used, the integration call we have here, and we can pass in the integration ID, which is effectively the output from the board create operation that we've already created. And then I'm just going to give this list a new name, and we'll just call it review in this example, and we're going to position it at the bottom of the list. Having done that, we might then want another checklist item that's going to let us know that that list has been created. So we're going to come in here, and for our list we're going to say list has been created in there, and again another integration call here to actually create a card. So in this example here, we're going to come back in. We're going to use the iBridge, we're going to use Trello, and we're going to use our cards option on this occasion, and we're going to use card create. And we're going to apply that in there, and again we've got the credentials, so we don't need to keep entering them. And then we've got to specify some of the input parameters. So again, we need the board ID to which this card is going to go on. So We know that we want to use the output from the integration call that we previously had, so that's going to be integration create, and we'll add that in. And then the list that we want this card to go on. By default, Trello has a number of different lists that are created with standard boards, so I'm going to add it into the to-do list, or I could have added it to the review if I so desired, and then some information about the card. So again, let's have a look here. Requirements, relate to, and in here we're going to put some variables back in. So again, we might want to put the request ID this relates to, and maybe the scope of the project. And again, that's going to possibly taken from a progressive capture and questions that you may well want to ask. So I'm going to inject that in here. Again, we might have another checkpoint that we might want to set off the back of this. And the final one here will be my review card, which is added to Trello. And then optionally, what I'm going to do here is add in an automated task which will write the new Trello board ID back to this request, on this occasion to the timeline, so we can visualize that that has been created. So we'll go into our automated task options. We're going to choose entity, we're going to choose request, and we're going to look at our update request options. Going to specify the timeline, and then we're going to put the text in that we want to input. So again, I can come in here and I could put the board that we're going to write to. I might then need to include part of the URL which it's going to, and then use our variable picker again to go to our integration nodes and specify the integration board ID that we want to use. I can see here that I haven't specified that correctly, so we'll do the integration create and we'll apply that. With that in mind, we're then going to come back in and we're going to join that up. We're going to save our process, validate our process, and then choose to publish that as the version we want to work with. With that in mind then, we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch to our service portal, and we'll go ahead and raise a request against a service or a catalog item which is running this particular business process. So under my business processes and projects, I might have options to raise different types of projects, in this case an office move. So in here I'm going to specify the scope, so need to move out of London office as running out of space for staff. We might put in when this project is required by, so it might be the end of the year. Any risks, I'm sure there'll be lots, we'll just put some information here, lots. Anticipated resources, yeah, again lots. Information at this stage isn't important. Project costs, etc., all that information. Impact likely to be high on this occasion. Maybe we also need to attach some documents to support this. But all in all, that's just really going to create a process for us against which we can demonstrate the creation of a Trello board. So that process has been created, and we can see here our checklist for the various actions that we want to perform. And if we come back in and have a look at the analyst view of this particular request, we can see here that an office relocation request has been raised. I'm going to assign to one of my teams. So again, I'm just going to follow through some of the real sort of basic actions that need to be performed on this request. So that might involve me taking ownership or completing tasks, so we can actually look at that and confirm on this occasion that all the information that's needed by the business to make a decision about this project to go ahead has been added and is available on this particular request. As a result of that, that might then need to go off to the business to decide whether this is actually costed and such like to go ahead and for a project to be raised. Just for demo benefits, I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to raise that and authorize that particular one on behalf of the business. Now in doing so, we move on to the second stage, which is the approval and assignment, and we look to pass that to the PMO office, and now we can see that the board has been created in Trello, the list has now been created in Trello, and that review card has been added to the board that we've just created. If we scroll down now, we can also see here that the board that we just created has been posted back to the timeline of this request. And if we click on that particular link, that will take us through to the new board that we've created, which includes the reference number from the service request has been raised from, the deadline that we specified in the progressive capture. It's created a new review list for us. And again, it's now added a board, again passing in the request ID and the scope information that we specified in the progressive capture that we created when logging that request. Thanks for watching.